as simply being perfect. But in many cases, perfectionism might actually set you back.
Yeah, of course, there is nothing wrong with setting high standards for yourself, but experts say most perfectionists could probably benefit from lightening up a little bit. Kelly Kitley joins us now. She is a psychotherapist and licensed clinical social worker. She is also an expert on mental health issues. Kelly, talk to us about perfectionism. How can it impact your mental health? And are people always aware that they fall into this category?
Oh my gosh, so many great questions. Our society really rewards people for doing well and being successful. But oftentimes what ends up happening is people who do have perfectionistic tendencies, it's not a diagnosis, but it is a personality trait where there is this incessant need to do everything perfectly. And we are human beings. We cannot be perfect.
Right, and we're looking at this graphic. It talks about how it forces you to focus too much on pleasing others and wanting to be liked, which I don't always associate with perfectionist tendencies. So if you see this in yourself, what are some ways to manage and tamp it down?
Sure, so lighten up a little bit. It's really easy to have that critical voice. Give yourself some grace and some self-compassion and give yourself some room for error. A lot of times we grow in being able to make mistakes, and if we're always holding on tight to having to do everything perfectly, then we're gonna have a really hard time, and we will increase our anxiety as well.
How do you spot if you are, and you touched a little on this, but is there a way where you're a perfectionist, but you're like, oh, well, I'm not always vocalizing it, and I'm just mad at myself for, I'll do this. Like, I'm gonna stay up for 2-3 nights and think about that one mistake I made, but I'm pretty chill during the day. How do you, if you have a friend, say, who falls into that category, how do you have a conversation with them to say, look, I'm noticing this, this, and this. I know you don't think you're this, but maybe you are.
Oftentimes noticing people's patterns and behaviors is a real obvious component of somebody struggling with perfectionistic tendencies. So they may be relaxed in one area, but if you're noticing that it's being interrupted in other areas of their life, like sleep or canceling plans because they have to finish something, or needing to go to the gym more often, or having all these qualities that are really unrealistic and unmanageable to sustain, then just have a gentle conversation with them and ask them how they're managing everything.
What about when it comes to kids? I think something that parents sometimes do is they're modeling this perfectionist behavior and their kids pick up on it. Or maybe you're trying not to, but you see that your child is putting a lot of pressure on themselves to be so perfect. How do you help guide them out of that?
So it can be both. It can be the projection of parents projecting their own feelings or desires onto their children, or some of those firstborns are just naturally born into the world a little more perfectionistic, including myself. But really being able to take notice of allowing your child to make mistakes and really praising them for the things they're doing well, but then also having conversations about things that maybe they might be struggling with and giving them the tools to have self-compassion and positive self-talk so that they're not held up on that one instance where they may have made a mistake and they're beating themselves up for.
Yeah, really focusing on the effort, I think, and not the result so much?
Absolutely. So much of it is about the process, and a lot of kids are really motivated to have that checklist of, I'm in sports, I'm a straight A student, I'm pleasing mom and dad, I'm well-liked. So it's really important. Yes, we want well-rounded kids, but also not to create this intensity of performance.
Yeah, amen to all of that. Psychotherapist Kelly Kitley, as always, great to see you. Thank you.
You're watching NBC News Daily.